intelligent software. I will start the debate today by the famous quote, "We never stop the progress." That we've been raised with. And it is especially true for technology and robots that are evolving in such a rapid way that they will clearly have an impact very quickly on the labor market, which implies great upheavals in the funding system as people will have less jobs. Therefore, we believe that we should, by slowing down this progress, we should slow down this progress thanks to the taxation in order to save more of these people's jobs. Because we care about the millions of people who suddenly become unemployed and find that their skills are now outdated for no fault of their own. Team Morocco, on side proposition, claims that more people will lose their jobs and that their skills will become obsolete at a faster rate as technology in robots and intelligent software advances at a mind-blowing rate. So Team Morocco will today prove to you that this tax is legitimate and that this tax will help those rendered unemployed or unemployable people. So for this tax to be efficient, it should follow the President's motion. This measure will be installed by subjecting companies that undergo sizable automation to a higher tax that will vary dependent on the level of automation. How would it be measured? So for every human job that the robot replaces, 50% of the former human salary would go to taxes. We think this is a reasonable tax because it will be enough to be utilized in either the expansion of welfare for those people, the rendered unemployed people, or in jobs for training to help in the social aspect, or to fund a basic income program that we'll talk about later. So today, as a first speaker, I will prove that the tax on the labor of robots and intelligent software is legitimate, and that this tax will help more and more people return their source of livelihood for a longer time. Then my second speaker will show that this tax will allow governments to expand welfare to help more people, and my third speaker will do the rebuttal. So, to begin my argumentation, I'm going to present the current and future of the automation situation in the labor market. So automation clearly saves a lot of money for businesses while increasing their production and efficiency substantially. Not only do employers save on salaries, but they also see more production for longer hours with lesser wastage. Indeed, yes.
So how would you tax the robots if there were ever anything in which you could assign a company that only has robot workers?
Well, simply because you will see that we will simply measure the fact that this company, if it didn't have robots, will like compare it to another company, and we'll see how many workers this company would have, and then we will tax it like according to the number of workers that have been replaced by robots. So continuing, like I was saying, that indeed once installed, automated technology demands very little ongoing investments and other running costs. So employers benefit enormously while paying only a fraction of what they would have paid by employing other workers. So a parallel can then be drawn with the Industrial Revolution, where new machines and assembly line allowed mass production and profit collection at a scale that was unimaginable before in the past. So, and we just take the example of the Ford in the United States that just revolutionized the car industry. Therefore, automation is likely to cause a change of a similar scale in efficiency and profit-making ability of businesses. Thus, as businesses grow faster, it is legitimate for governments to tax them at a higher rate, because as the money they used to collect through taxes of workers would then have disappeared, and it is not reasonable because it is how governments have been able to have this funding system and to have aids and to just like pay other salaries for other workers. So this is not reasonable. Go for it.
So would you also tax the production lines that have replaced workers' jobs for 100 years ago?
No, we are only talking about the new robots and intelligent software that will come after this tax will be installed. So to continue, as a result, team opposition can't claim that we are infringing on the rights of corporations or disincentivizing innovation because of this tax. And while this tax will cut into profits of the corporations of the labor of robots and intelligent software, while it will cut into the profits of corporations, the labor of robots and intelligent software, as has just been proved, will more than make up for this loss. I will now move to my second argument that concerns the social benefits of this tax, these social aspects of the motion that are crucial for our team. So first, let's talk about the fact that this tax, in reality, help some of the companies, especially the small ones. Because once robots or intelligent software is proved to work on a small scale, it will quickly replaces the human labor, just like drivers or other customer service representatives. So large companies have the capacity to absorb such costs of transition much more easily and are often the first to upgrade the automation. So in the first place, these big companies will be the ones who will be using robots and not the medium-sized companies. So this demand for automation would still trigger more incentives to improve the technology and lower costs so that small and medium businesses in the future would be able to adapt to it more easily, and therefore we will be solving innovation but prepare for it. And by taxing labor of this machine, we also slow down the capacity of most businesses to automate, because in the short term, the cost of this automation is even higher, while profits take some time to accumulate. Indeed, by increasing the cost of transition to automation every single time, we allow more people to retain their jobs for a longer time and allow them to utilize this time for retraining jobs. No, thank you. For retraining jobs for other skills, as their jobs become outdated. So, on the other hand, this tax is once again really important for the social side because when industries that employ a large section of the workers of the local population suddenly starts laying off workers, depression is triggered in the area. Everyone would have lesser money to spend if no tax is established, causing more businesses to slow down or to go bust. Crime rates usually go up, and people find it very difficult to climb up out of poverty if everyone around them is caught in the trap. It becomes impossible for the local governments to replace so many jobs in the short term if robots aren't slowed down thanks to taxes. And unemployment is then much better handled and much more short-lived when it happens in phases, just like we'll be able to do thanks to the taxes. So as a result, team opposition must either continue to defend rapid automation and tell us why they won't do anything to prevent near simultaneous unemployment of thousands of people, or concede that rapid automation is bad and what they will do to slow it down. Therefore, Team Morocco would have proven the legitimacy and the efficiency of such a tax over robots and without won the debate. Thank you.
Have new jobs created. If we look at the entrepreneurship and their cycle to go up, and more jobs were created after the Industrial Revolution. So instead of having people digging in coal mines, they could now instead be selling books or making innovating new devices or serving coffee and other things or stuff like that. So new jobs are created. So what happens when we have lower prices? Well, people buy more stuff. And what happens when people buy more stuff? Well, then we have economic growth because we live in a consumer economy. And this way we can have way cheaper prices. But this will not happen with tax robots because then the prices will be even higher or remain the same. Because the businesses will not pay the tax. They will let the customers pay the tax. So we will just have higher prices, even higher prices than we have already. So this means that we will not have economic growth. And further, furthermore, if we look at the other, if we look at the economy, it's not a series of game. If we can make the cake bigger, so when we have economic growth, we will have more jobs. We will create new jobs, first of all, because the demand for more jobs will be there, but also because the technological development will create new jobs. For example, the economist named Rysensteen has said that between 1890 to 1990, and the amount of manual work required in the textile industry decreased by 98%. But the jobs in the textile industry has actually increased since, because prices have become lower and because technology has improved. We could have come up with other examples of how technological development means that people are able to focus on the top of their game instead of doing manual routine things on the assembly line. It means that we can make more innovative stuff. It means that we can focus on communication and selling and training with other humans instead of just making boring jobs.
have a job to buy something. Because this tax will just, because these robots will just displace these people and they won't have any job to have money to pay for these things.
Okay, two responses. First of all, we don't think that many people will be displaced by robots. It's only a small proportion of the population who are actually working in factories and stuff like that. And second of all, the price will become lower, so the money needed to maintain a decent living standard would actually be easier. And as I told you before, we have higher prices if we tax robot. This means higher cost of living, and this means that it becomes even more hard to be a poor person. So we actually don't harm this actor on our side of the house. No. So, why would we be taxing someone who makes us richer? That is completely ridiculous. So, moving into my next argument, which is that this does not fit within the purpose of taxes. Okay, so first of all, you can't really assess the value of the production of robots, and you can't really compare it to other businesses. I don't really explain that. But even if we did so, you could risk that the government over-assist the businesses in order to gain more taxes, which will discriminate businesses. But also, the purpose of taxation is to maintain a social contract where the citizen pays some and then gets some in exchange from the government. But robots, they don't need to get something because they are not citizens. So they are not a part of the social contract, and therefore they should not pay taxes. They are not sentient, and they don't need social security, but they have no income, so you can't be tax robots. Instead, this tax would be a tax on businesses. But we are only taxing businesses. We have corporate taxes. In many countries in America, we have a corporate tax of 35%. We want to tax businesses even more? No, because they just don't pay tax. We already have a huge problem of tax and haven and businesses not paying tax because they only find the system unfair. But how do you think that these actors will react if we tax them even more? No, they will do anything in their power to pay these taxes. And businesses having more robots than others will find it discriminating to pay more taxes. So that is one of the issues is that the taxation of robots will be completely unjust and will lead to a worse future. I'm proud to oppose.
Without technology, we would be still hunting. This is the first point that team opposition has stated. As we would understand, is that team opposition thinks that team proposition is against technology. We have never been against technology or the development of automation. What we are against, though, is automation replacing the jobs of people. This is something we think is unacceptable and something that shouldn't exist in our world. They're also saying that taxing the labor of robots is harmful and not necessary now. Then they told you that we're not speaking about in 100 years what would happen. Then they went back to telling you that this is not necessary now and after. Team opposition has to make sure what they're speaking about. Do they want to tax the labor of the robots now? Do they want to tax them later? We have no idea. They haven't made this clear. No, okay. And this is something we think should be clarified. They're also saying that new jobs are created. Like they came up with the example of the Industrial Revolution that gave room to more creativity in jobs, etc. All this is true, but this didn't happen. This didn't happen at first. There was at the beginning. There was this huge unemployment rate, and then we went into this creativity jobs being created. Do they care about these people who lost their jobs at that time? They don't seem to be doing that. Go ahead.
Is the purpose of technology not to replace manual labor, and that way going against the replacing of jobs is also going against the innovation of technology and progressive society?
The purpose of automation is to replace the manual labor. This is true. What we're saying here is that we're not against this replacing. What we are against is this past replacing, meaning that they would replace this now, meaning that a lot of people would lose their jobs. And this is not something that's something going to happen in the meantime because we can't deal with more unemployment. So they also stated that a 50% cut is something that is very difficult. That is very difficult to handle. Well, the whole purpose of a robot, as you stated, is to replace manual labor, which means that a robot costs a lot less care and is much more productive. What a human being can do in a day can maybe be done by a robot in an hour or two. So they're a lot more productive. So even if we cut 50% even if you impose a 50% tax, this wouldn't hurt them so much. They also said that the benefits of robots we are also saying the benefits of and therefore we're saying that the benefit of a robot and the outcome is way above the tax. They also stated that corporations will not pay taxes. Well, they should be paying taxes. Normally, this is what they should be doing. So this is just a normal thing that they should be doing. No, thank you. So if they don't pay taxes, they should be penalized as it should be normally done. They're also saying that a corporation paying taxes more than another corporation is unjust. Well, is a CEO paying $1 and the farmer paying $1 the same? Or will the CEO pay? Will it affect them in the same way? It won't, because maybe this farm, because the salary of the farmer is way less high than this of the CEO. This is a comparative value that we should be speaking about here. Now off to our next point. We're saying on side proposition that this tax will allow governments to expand welfare to help more people better. Still, Morocco is not denying, and we're stating it again, that it rather fully recognizes the fact that automation is both good and inevitable due to the large scale of profits and improvements in production it can cause. And due to the obvious automation growth we're heading towards. Just a couple of centuries ago, we did not have a single robot working in a factory. Well, the total level of professional service robots sold in 2015 is 41.060 units. The team opposition does not seem to understand that we are not against automation and we can't just stop it anyways. Because it is becoming a need, and we are against, though, is this rapid, exponential taking over of the robots, and that's stating again, on the welfare of the people. As we stated, we want to slow it down in order to keep it as a tool and as something that serves human beings, rather than growing the miserable conditions and unemployment. Because as automation becomes more and more commonplace, more people will inevitably lose their jobs. Inevitably, we can expect that very few sources of employment available to people without extremely high level of education. So let us slow down this process through the taxes, as we previously explained. Also, while governments will continue to invest in education, we must prepare ourselves for the reality. A lot more and more people will be unemployed and will require government welfare to meet even their basic needs. A study attests that by 2021, robots will have eliminated 6% of all jobs in the United States. And now maybe team opposition would stand up and say this is only a small percentage. A question: what if you were inside this small percentage? Wouldn't you care then?
Information.
Go ahead.
Is it not better to have fast innovation to help the majority of the people rather than slowing down innovation just to help the minority, but thereby making the majority suffer for longer?
It would be okay if this majority was potentially hurt. Now the people who are potentially hurt is this minority. Would you allow a minority to be potentially hurt to help a majority that isn't that hurt by this? So, and next thing we want to state is that because corporations are responsible for because corporations are responsible for this and will benefit the most from this automation, and they must be made to contribute to the welfare of these people. This tax allows us to collect money that can be directly used to expand the welfare budgets of the governments, which can be used to provide unemployment allowances, jobs retaining programs, and as well as basic welfare like health, care, sanitation, food security for a continuously increasing number of people. It slows down. Yes, these taxes will slow down automation, allowing governments to expand welfare, though, expand welfare programs as faced with increasing rates of employment. Ladies and gentlemen, team opposition dooms more people to be trapped in cycles of poverty, with no avenue of escape. Governments will be able to help these many people without will not be able to help these people without additional income through tax collections and time to expend welfare nets. I want now to go to the basic income. So more and more people are unemployed, and more people feel encouraged, right? Well, we don't want these people to fall into this trap, and therefore we're providing tax so governments finds the money to do this. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to propose.
Thank you, Dr.
Proposition seems to believe that automation is just something that lands. It takes like 1 year for automation to be completely invested in society. It only takes a very small amount of time for robots to have taken on all of our jobs. I'm here to tell you that this process is not as rapidly as they want it to seem. Automation has always developed pretty slowly as new technology has been developed. We have never actually seen, we have always seen a long development over time where technology has been better and better and then taken over more and more jobs as we have developed into taking more advanced jobs and more jobs in the social sector and more jobs in the sector that actually has to repair the robots and handle the robots. So the process is not as rapid as they wanted it to seem. I would like to first of all move into some rebuttal. What they seem to be very focused on is this job thing, that people will lose jobs. As my first speaker already explained, we will create new jobs. We will create jobs for people that have to take care of these robots, that have to build these robots, that have to repair these robots. So even if this process is so rapidly as they say, which it isn't, we have never actually seen automation happening in like a year. People will have time to be re-educated and get education to take care of these robots and thereby educate themselves to get new jobs because automation doesn't happen rapidly. But even if it did, we will create new jobs as fast as the automation because we will need new people to take care of these robots and we'll need people to repair these robots. So even if what they said about rapidly automation was true, then it will still provide new jobs just as fast as the automation actually got in. Also, the group that will actually stand without a job, the group that they talk about will be out of the job market, is only compromises around 2% of the population. No, so they aren't as important as the majority, as the 98% rest of the population, which will suffer because we don't have innovation. Innovation is what makes us capable of solving global crises in the world. It's what makes us able to clean water, solve hunger, that kind of things. We inside opposition does not believe that we should let a big percentage of the world's population suffer from hunger and from pain just because some people will lose their jobs. In our societies where we actually have a social security net. So we don't believe that this point stands. We believe that we on our side helps more people by actually making innovation a thing, and actually promoting innovation. They are talking about how there will still be some innovation in their society. We don't believe that this is necessarily true. They haven't actually provided any kind of analysis for why this will be true. Well, I would provide an analysis why this would be true. Because if there will be taxes on robots, it will be less profitable for people to buy these robots. When less people buy these robots, this means that there's less incentive to produce and develop these robots because the profit of making these robots will be too small. This also means that investors, because the robots technology sector relies a lot on investors. This means that investors will be less likely to invest in robot technology because it sells less. Thereby, by actually taxing robots with 50%, which is huge, we actually set a stop for innovation because we both make it less incentive to buy things, which will lead to less incentive to make them, and less incentive to invest in them, even if you wanted to make them. So now moving into my argument. My argument is actually about what we've already talked about. about is about the importance of innovation and why this will decrease innovation. So I've actually already been a little into this point in this hand. But innovation is what gives us solutions to great problems, as already mentioned. Like, for example, we have internet facilitating different kinds of information and sharing information and touch views and improves usabilities, but also yes.
Are you suggesting that blue-collar workers who lost their jobs would be qualified to immediately take the job that handles complicated software?
No, we're saying that they will probably not actually qualified. First of all, yes, they would, because what you're talking about, you're saying it like automation will happen immediately. People will stay without their jobs in one day. This will not happen. Right now, the robots we have walks like this and talks like this. The robots right now aren't actually developed to take that many jobs. We can see, like you're talking about the future, how there will be more robot workers instead of actual human workers. Well, then we can actually see this in the future, that there will be a need to relocate people. And we can do this now. We can relocate people to slowly take over machines, but that doesn't mean that we can prepare people to take over. This automation will not happen so rapidly. We have time to relocate people. We have time to introduce them to this new technology. We will create new jobs, which will always also be kind of simple jobs. We don't have to know all the software, because you have to have someone that can repair some of the robots or clean them and that kind of stuff. So you'll still have jobs that doesn't require that much education. And we still have jobs like working at coffee bars and that kind of stuff, which will not be able to be taken over by robots in a very long time, because they still work like this. And so therefore, even if they can't get any actual job in for the robot sector, someone else will, and they believe their manual jobs, so they can come over and shift cars up arousal instead, for example. So we do have jobs. Just because automation doesn't mean that every job suddenly disappeared. So, but innovation is important. But what is important is innovation, because that's what actually makes us capable of making a solution to new problems. It's what makes us able to help people, to save people. It's what makes us capable of flying airplanes down to Syria with healthcare and build different camps for refugees around the world. This is what technology can do, and in the future, robots will help us doing these kind of things. But for example, will help us do this kind of thing. Maybe we'll get more effective flights and that kind of stuff. Then we will be able to help even more people because that's what automation is to help more people by more sufficient solutions. Taxes would decrease innovation. That's what I actually already explained in response to some of their rebuttal. The incentive to buy will be smaller because the profit will be smaller. This means that the ability to actually, that the incentive to actually make these robots will be smaller because the profit will be smaller. And even if professors are so into actually making robots, then the incentive to investing in this professor to make robots, and making robots require people, then investors won't be interested in investing in these robots because investors want money, and if the profits aren't there, then they want investing robots. And that's why I'm so happy to stand side opposition, because we stand innovation and helping most people. Thank you.
Please be absolutely quiet until the speech starts. So I will now welcome the proposition to
Okay, so we would like to begin the third speaker's speech with pointing out several mistakes brought on by team opposition. Now, first, in saying that a tax on the labor robots would be harmful to society. False, because my first and second speaker have proved how, firstly, robots will increase profits. That's the point of taking on robots, because it is not as if one robot will replace one human and do the exact same job. If this was the case, then there is no point in taking on those robots to begin with. No, because robots can take on the place of multiple employees and they can do a more efficient job, therefore already increasing the profits of the company. Now, a 50% tax on the previous salary of every employee that the robot replaces is not irrational whatsoever, because already the robots will be doing a more efficient job and their only costs will be maintenance and the initial price of the robot. Now, let's move on to this. The team opposition said, and I quote, "We don't need to prove anything but that a tax is not useful." That's not true, because it is team opposition's responsibility to care for those, to propose a model that will solve the issue of unemployment, because this is not happening over 100 years, such as the Industrial Revolution. This is happening very soon, and to prove this, team proposition has done its research. 6% of the world's working population will be lost by 2021 as a cause of automation. 6% of the world's population. Just to clarify this is millions of people. It is happening at a much faster rate than team opposition is suggesting. Also, how team proposition does not understand how team opposition would like to fund the rehabilitation programs that would help these workers acquire the skills to go back into the working market, because they have provided no plan for this besides already existing plans of corporate tax. Corporate tax can only do so much, because at a certain point, that will destroy middle-class corporations who cannot afford to pay these increased corporate taxes, because again, these corporate taxes, these increased corporate taxes that team opposition is suggesting, will have to pay for millions of newly unemployed workers. Now, on to what they said about how they can take a job as a waitress, or they can take a job as something else that will still provide their livelihood. No, they can't, because it is not just construction and other forms of blue-collar work that the automation is replacing. It's work such as waitressing, no thank you, such as waitressing and other work in the service industry that is going to be affected. Now on to what the second speaker said about the robots walking and talking as she demonstrated. This is not true at all. That is how it was maybe in the 90s or the 80s, but today there's artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence that is able to beat the world chess champion at a chess match. These robots are increasing in intelligence and therefore cannot be substituting humans without paying any reciprocation.
Point of information, madam.
Yes.
Why is it exactly that you believe that robots will replace service workers when we know that people prefer a person-to-person interaction instead of having to interact with an AI?
Thank you. Well, we agree that it is obviously preferable for the customer to have a human serve them. That's not what the employers would prefer, because for the employers, it's more convenient for them, and it's cheaper for them, and it's more productive for them to take on robots. Now, this is something that team opposition doesn't seem to understand, that robots will already increase the profits of the companies. So 50% tax, which would be 50% of the previous employee's salary, is not much to pay in the long run. Now, speaking about the long run, the team opposition has offered no model for what will happen to those who lose their jobs now. Because they've said in 100 years, jobs will be created. This is true. That's not what we're debating. We're debating the immediate generation of people that are going to lose their jobs. Because in 100 years, in 3 generations, we're no longer going to be having this debate, because we would have already implemented a tax that would help the unemployed people now, the parents of those, the grandparents of those who will be affected in the future, who will have jobs in the future. Now, just take a moment to imagine working as a waitress. a waitress with student loans, as very common in the United States. Now, this waitress loses her job, such as in restaurants such as Chili's or other restaurants such as this, who are acquiring these automated waitressing or waitering robots at every single table. She will lose her job. She will look for another waitressing job or another job of the same manner. But all those restaurants have seen how useful it is to just take automation, how much cheaper it is than to pay this lady who needs to pay off her student loans and who no longer has the option to. Under Team Proposition's plan, this tax will go to rehabilitation programs that would help her train to acquire the skills that will get her better jobs to pay off her student loans. Under Team Proposition's plan, the corporations will not lose a significant amount of money. Innovation will still prosper because our plan encourages automation, seeing as it is still more profitable. No, thank you. It is still more profitable to have a robot than a human. Now, again, the Team Opposition stated that that they're less likely to buy things. If that customers would be less likely to buy things. Well, we're talking about the employers, and we're talking about the employees. The employees will suffer under your plan. The employees will benefit under our plan. The employers will benefit under our plan, and the employers will not benefit under your plan because you've not offered a significant model that will help them in any way. Yes.
So how is it that the employers will benefit in your plan compared to the status quo where they don't even need to tax and does have more profit?
Because you are only talking about the upper class. On Team Opposition's plan, we are not taking into account the lower income corporations, the smaller businesses of the middle class, of the lower class, who will also be affected by this. They're talking about the multi-million, multinational companies that will increase, but in the long run, as they seem to like very much, the middle class corporations will not be able to compete with the multinational corporations, because multinational corporations will adopt so much automation, they will adopt so much intelligent software that the lower corporations will be left in the dust. You are supporting the increase of the difference of the social classes, and Team Proposition is making this process of automation slower. We are not stopping it completely, we are making it safer for the employees, and we're retaining its profitability for the employers, and that is why Team Proposition should win.
I'm not welcome.
So proposition side seems to have fundamentally misunderstood just how it is that a business actually works. So we asked a question in a PI about whether we actually believe that service workers would be replaced simply because we had computers that could do similar stuff. They agreed that the customers would actually prefer a customer to human interaction, right? They want a human to human interaction. We believe that businesses actually know this and want the most profit, right? So they would actually want to have their customers be as happy as possible. This is exactly how we believe that a business works. It's a for-profit that maximizes every single cent that they can get, right? So they want to earn as much money as humanly possible, or inhumanly possible in this case, right? So why is it that we still believe that this will slow progress down so much so that it will have a detrimental effect and that's of our civilization right now. Okay, so we're basically halving the profit that a company can get. That's like a significant amount for every company that you actually see. If you said to a company, oh, we're going to halve your profits, right? Then that company would be outraged because that's a lot of money that they're going to lose. So no, thank you. And could you be a little louder this time to ask because I can't quite hear you. Okay, so that. Okay, so we think that it's going to be a slower progress on the side of their side of the house, right? Because they get less profit. Okay, two things for this debate. what is the purpose of taxation, which we haven't really touched that much upon because they haven't really responded, and like to the point that we made in our first speech, and second on the effects of society, which is much more important, right? So we're going to get into the purpose of taxation. Okay, so their point was that the tax is legitimate because we're losing jobs, and thus we need to tax them because the people that lost jobs need to get the money, right? Okay, so we said that the fundamental reason we have a tax system, right, is that people have a social contract with the state, right? We're giving a part of our income, a part of the money that we earn, so that the state can use that money, spend it on infrastructure and helping us back, right? So we don't think that robots should fundamentally, on this principle, be taxed because the robots won't receive any of these benefits, right? So the reason that we see that the workers are getting taxed and have to pay taxes is not because that would make a more fair system, but more because that they need this money so that the government can create infrastructure, can create education, and can create hospitals for workers to actually use later on, right? So we don't think that this, thank you, we don't think that this principle actually really stands. Okay, so going into the effects of the society. Okay, so on proposition side, they agreed that they would slow progression. Because in their first speech, they actually said that they were willing to slow progression down to the level that we felt that the workers would actually be able to adapt. Okay, so they later then said in their first speech that, well, okay, it will take 100 years to adapt. Okay, so you're willing to slow down the progress until that it will take about 100 years for those to adapt, right? No, thank you. So even if we don't really see that, because like just slowing down the progress actually hurts a lot more than they seem to believe. Okay, so they talked about how 6% of the working population would lose their jobs due to automation. We already explained that we would be able to create new jobs based on the technology that actually springs forth, right? So with the invention of the assembly line, right, we got a lot of new jobs because we had to have people that could repair these machines, that could maintain the machines, and actually work these machines, right? We believe that in the same sense that in the automation, we still need people to maintain the machines, repair the machines, and actually help the machines, right? And we also see that the service industry won't be as affected as they believe that it will. We see that human-to-human interaction is still so important, and the robots are so far away from having overcome the creepy valley that we don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon, right? That's why we said that we're talking about right now. We're not talking about in 100 years because that's not relevant. Because in 100 years we have a lot of other things that we have to think about. Okay. No, thank you. So let's see how it is that it harms people because we have to slower progress. Okay. So right now we have a huge crisis in the developing world. People don't have jobs. People don't have water. They don't have clean water. They don't have medicine to take. They don't have food that they can eat, right? So we believe that the biggest problem right now isn't that some blue-collar workers will lose their jobs and then have to live off the social benefits that are slightly smaller on our side of the house, so thank you, that they are on their side of the house. Because they're only talking about 50% of the tax of the people's income, right? We already explained in our first speech that that's actually only like 2% of the income of a country, or something around those lines, right? So it's not a lot of money that we're actually getting into the state. So we don't really believe that the social benefits will increase that much. We already explained this in our first speech, and they didn't really explain anything else and say that, well, they're still getting more benefit. Okay, that's not a very big amount, right? But if we have more innovation, because the only way we can actually feed the whole planet is by having innovation. The current technologies that we have don't allow us to feed 8 billion people on this planet. We need new technology, and we need it urgently, because 1 billion people are actually starving. That's not 6%, that's 16%, that's almost 3 times as many people that are actually starving and suffering than on their side of the house, right? We believe that we can help these people, even if we can just help them a little bit faster, right? We still believe that we're still saving millions of lives on our side of the house. So in that case, we don't really see that how they are helping people so much more, because the impact on their action isn't as big as the impact on our action, right? Okay, so except for that, we talked about how we would incentivize economic growth on our side of the house, right? By having more profit for the companies, they would be able to lower their prices, right? Because when you can create a lot of things without having to pay a lot for it, they're going to have competition, because they want to have the consumer actually buy these things, right? So the prices will be lower. We already explained this in our first speech. So with prices lowered, we also increase the purchasing ability of the social benefits that you get right now, right? So even if you lose your job and you get social benefits, then you still get some money, right? But that money will be worth more on our side of the house, right? Because the price of products will actually fall in that sense. So we think that in that sense that the blue-collar workers who lose their job, yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Actually, you're saying that this money will be more useful in your side, but in your side there won't be any money because these people won't have jobs.
Okay, so on our side of the house, that money won't, because they don't have any jobs. Okay, we already talked about how we have corporate taxes, right? So with more profit, we already have more money on our side of the house. still get some money, right? The only difference is that the state gets suddenly a little bit more money on their side of the house compared to on our side of the house. And then we have the other side of the effect that on their side, the cost of everything won't really go down that much, but on our side of the house, it will go down a little bit more, right? So we think that the purchasing power for the blue-collar workers will be somewhat about the same, right? And the next generation, we already talked about how they can re-educate, how they can choose to get a new job, right? So we're only talking about right now, and we don't think that the impact on these people will be that much. So in the future, when we look at that, then the impact is much larger, right? So we're trading off very small time harms on their that we have on our side, right? Compared to big benefits that we can get that we can't get on their side of the house, right? Okay, so let's take a look again at the effects on the society. So what have I told you? Okay, so their side of the house agreed that they're slowing down progress. Our side of the house told you that slowing down progress is the same as actually making people suffer more in the third world. And we think that this is a much more important actor. It's the only way that, no, thank you, and it's protect the time, thank you. So on our side of the house, we're helping more people because we're helping the developing world by allowing this innovation. Because this is only by creating new technology that we can actually help the developing world that we think that this is much more likely, right? And we already talked about how it is that the harms that we have to accept on our side of the house with people having a little less money isn't that big. Because we're also reducing the cost of everything by cutting production costs, right? So we're making companies, we're allowing companies to lower prices, and that way we don't think that the blue-collar workers will suffer that much. So we're actually just talking about, should we help a majority of the population, or should we just help these people that just are a little bit unlucky, but we're not actually harming them that much? Because we stand for helping as many people as possible, I am so proud to be opposition state. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Keith. I will welcome the vice speaker from the opposition to speak that.
So I have two questions for you as this debate. How do we benefit the most people, and how do we tackle automation in the best way? Okay, so on our side of the house, we proposed a realistic solution and a realistic view of the situation as it actually is. We have explained to you how robots are not a very big threat to society and how they are not really developed that much yet. So, and we also told you that taxing these robots would be completely insensible. On their side, they are trying to paint a picture of a world where we have some kind of this dystopian society where robots have controlled everything and big companies have taken away the jobs. Well, we think this is highly unrealistic, and we think that even if this is going to be the case in 500 years, it is not relevant right now. So, we showed you how the purpose of taxes is to maintain a social contract between the people and the rulers. We want, and the point of that is that the people, as a civic, we pay some of their income in order to get social security and other things in exchange, and such as and also safety and such as things like that. But robots are not citizens, and they can therefore not be a part of the social contract. So instead of destroying development, going against the development as they want to, we should embrace the development so that we can make the best society as possible. And we get a far better future on our side than on their side. And also, we showed you how we will benefit the most people. They are only focusing on avoiding the unemployment of a few people who might lose a job because of future robots. But we are also taking the majority into account and the people of the future into account. In my first speaker, the third world, for example, he shows that how new technologies and robots could increase and improve the methods that we use to help people in the third world, such as providing water and food. We could have maybe robots flying into Syria so that no one has to risk their life, and we could have robots flying and giving them food. We could have machines and cleaning salt water and stuff like that. But we haven't invented this yet because we need more innovation. But we don't get more innovation on their side of the house because they want to implement attacks that will act as disincentive for businesses to actually invent robots and buy robots. We will have fewer robots on that side of the house because it will become more expensive. And that will have the consequence, as my second speaker showed you, it will have the consequence that we will improve robots less and we will have less robots. Companies will not invest in improving new smart robots because they cannot gain the same profit anymore. So this means that researchers and scientists won't get the funding to actually improve the work and to make research and give us better robots. So we have a better future on our side when we have more people. Many of their assumptions are not based on fear. The consequences in perhaps society right now are not really that great. Most of the people still have a job. And it's not like that, as I showed you in my first speech, that we are having an unemployment rate of 90% just because that we had an industrial revolution once that replaced the farmers in the agricultural industry. Because we have created jobs. And you can see that most of the jobs we have today are combined with computers and other things like that. And then those jobs did not even exist 100 years ago. We couldn't even predict them because no one knew what a computer was 100 years ago. And for that reason, we cannot predict the jobs that will be created as well. So, and that is why they are basing their assumptions. They are assuming that the future will be dangerous and be taken over by robots. But that is a very negative view. And we, on our side, we have confidence that humanity will be able to tackle automation in the best way.
Now I would like to welcome the proposition vice president to finish the debate.
Today, we have listened to debate between a side of the House that believes that they are going to save a majority and they are more eager to sacrifice the minority in order to do this, while actually they're not saving this majority as they're claiming to do, and between a side that cares about a slow and sure development that would benefit everybody. So, Team Opposition has stated that taxing the labor of robots is harmful and not necessary now and in the future, and we have proved this to be wrong because we are needing this tax in order to improve the situation of all the people who lose their jobs because of this rapid automation. They also stated that automation does not happen rapidly. Well, as the human history witnesses, as soon as the industrial revolutions began, automation has been going more and more rapidly. Just compare how we're going, how things are evolving today than how they were evolving thousands of years ago. Things are moving in a much faster way. Something that is also important. They also try to play with your emotions, saying that innovation is so important it will allow us to send planes to Syria. This is right. As we stated, we're not against innovation. We are against this rapid and increasing replacements of robots in corporations and in big corporations, etc. Not in the fast making of planes that would save hundreds and thousands of people. They also say that we need new technology to help the third world people who are suffering from starvation, and that this technology will benefit. Well, one question we need to ask here: how would they do this? They said that they want to make technology more affordable to this part of the world. But how are they going to do this? Would you imagine a big corporation just lowering its prices to help the people in the third world? How would you replace all this huge amount of loss they would encounter? This is something side opposition has failed to prove. On our side, though, we are fully acknowledging that we cannot stop the progress. On our side, though, we are being rational, and we know that this technology is happening and can be stopped, and and can benefit a lot of people. All we want to do though is to slow it down so we don't have this minority which is losing its jobs because we just want to accelerate the technology for reasons that are completely irrational. On our side of the house though, we believe that the labor of robots in intelligence that taxing the labor of robots in intelligence software is legitimate because this tax would help us implement basic income programs and it would help us implement all the financial aid people who face unemployment and other social programs face right now. On our side of the house, we believe that this tax will help more and more people retain their social livelihood for a longer time. On our side of the house, we believe that taxing the labor of robots would only benefit a more secure future for everybody. On our side of the house, everybody is winning. On our side of the house, we believe that technology should be a tool, that technology should be something that is serving the purpose of humanity for all the reasons we have stated, and not the reasons that team opposition has presented and are completely irrational.